Hello everyone, Louis with ReadyToGoCables.com here. This occasion I want to speak to you about custom cables and more specifically about custom shielded KFIV cables, which is the one that we have right here. There's a few things that you want to watch for here when somebody manufactures your cable. The first thing that we want to notice is the type of plug that they use. Why? Because if they use the wrong plug for the type of wire, basically it's not efficient and the cable is not going to work pretty much. So you want to make sure that whoever manufactures your cable knows what they're doing and what kind of cable, what kind of plug they need to use. This KFIV plug is a KFIV shielded plug. It's not different than a KFIV cable with the difference that it has an outer layer of metal. Why? Because it's important to have that metal layer if it's a shielded wire. Basically, shielded cables are needed when you have any kind of a special equipment that you need them for like X-ray machines or X-ray rooms, or if you ever wonder in an airplane what kind of wires they use. All the cables pretty much are shielded. Why? Because they want to shield the cables from the airplane from your devices, your cell phone, any kind of interference that won't allow the computers to work properly. So it's very specific, and the difference between a regular wire, a KFIV wire, and a KFIV shielded wire basically is this drain wire that travels all around the cable, and what it is basically the ground for the wire. So it's very you need to use this kind of wire with this kind of plug. The second thing that you want to watch for is the conductors. So whoever is stripping the wire, the jacket, which is this purple part of the cable, make sure they do it properly, because if they strip the conductors as well, just like the jacket, basically what that does is going to allow two conductors to touch each other inside the plug, and that's going to generate a short in the cable, and the cable's not going to work, or you will have problems later on. So when they strip the wire, they have to make sure that they strip it right. They don't strip it too much to strip the conductors, and they strip it with the appropriate length. Why? Because each one of those conductors have to touch the top of the plug. I'm hoping you can see the termination here. And I'm sorry, I apologize if it's a little too blurry, but each one of those conductors have a function to reach the top of the plug, so that whoever is crimping the wire crimps it properly, and each one of these pins inside the plug reaches each one of the conductors of the wire. If they don't do it right, or if they do it improperly, what's going to happen is that one of those pins or one of the conductors is going to come loose, and if you are plugging and unplugging this cable, chances are that sometime either the cable is going to come loose and then it's not going to work at all, or maybe you might have a short as well. So you want to make sure that they do it right. The next thing that I want to point to you is the strain relief of the boot. Each one of these boots, what we call them in the industry, or strain reliefs, they have a specific, certain specifications they have to meet. Basically, I like when the strain reliefs they fit nice and properly. You can slide them up and down. Why? Because there's sometimes situations where network administrators need to take the boot off, and because they're plugging and unplugging this wire or whatever, the kind of equipment that they're using, and you don't want it to be too tight to the cable. Why? Because if this is too tight, if it fits too tight with the plug, basically what's going to happen is that when somebody tries to unplug it from the patch panel or the switch, they're going to try to yank this off, and if it's too tight, you're going to start forcing it, and you're going to, sooner or later, you're going to strip the conductors from the pins in the plug. So you want to make sure that they use the right boot, and basically it depends what kind of cable we're using. We use a different boot so that it fits those conditions that I just told you about. So this one is a 7.0 millimeter boot, and it fits properly. The next thing that you want to make sure that whoever is making your cables notices is that they need to use the specific wire for these applications. So a lot of times these cables are custom made because they're tight specifications that the customer has to meet with their customer. So they used so when they come they tell us what kind of wire they want to use. We like to stick with the with American cable, like American wires, such as Quabbin, Belden, General Cable, Comscope, Bertec. But we do notice a little difference when building when the customer supplies the cable and the cable is made from an unknown manufacturer. Why? Because not everybody is bad, but a lot of times what people do is they don't use the proper amount of copper that they should be using. And yes, the price will be a lot cheaper if you were to buy an overseas manufacturer. But the problem is that a lot of these people like to use copper mixed with a lot of metals, such as the aluminum. And what that is going to do is basically the cable is going to lose signal sooner or later because they're not using the right amount of copper. So the conductivity is gonna go down. So we like to stick with the American brands, and you will notice also the weight on the cable. So if you're not using 100% wire copper on the conductors, the cable is going to be lighter. And but chances are that if you have a long enough cable, we're talking about I don't know, 50, 75 footer, you're gonna notice a loss of signal because of that, because they're not using the right wire. Next, so we make sure we wrap the cables with a tie, nice and neat. Why? Because when we send these cables 100, 200 in a box, basically we want the customer to be satisfied with the product and not look through a spaghetti wire if you had 100 of these cables just laying on a box. So we like to wrap them up with a tie, really nice and neat. And if the customer really wants to be all the way with being nice and meeting their customer demand, sometimes what we do for them is we bag them individually. So we put them in plastic bags and zip bags, and we close them nice and neat. Last thing I want to say is that sometimes we do label the cables here because if you notice, of course, in a data center there's hundreds and thousands of cables. So sometimes our customers want us to actually label the cables, and we can do it as well. So if you have any questions, just feel free to drop me a message in my website, www.readytogocables.com. You can see the link to my website in the bottom part of this video. And just let me know your comments. If you're looking for somebody to make your cables, just let me know. We'll help you with that. Thank you for watching, and take care. Bye bye.